Hey, welcome to this moment. I've got more information or questions for those with the ears to hear it, the eyes to see it, or those that don't but are trying to. TV brainwashing is not new news, but you are to yourself. If you see yourself differently and um, realize that you can see things so differently, then the whole world changes. So, advertising, product placements, that's easy stuff. Symbolism, um, rituals, uh, let's go a little deeper. Uh, just like social stuff, like friends or family guy or race, even if they're amazing. Uh, taking your attention, it being a pastime at all. Uh, let's go a little deeper. You develop sovereignty and self identity when you become self coherent. And that takes sustaining your awareness, your connection to um, your personality and to the environment with your soul, or it's your sovereignty arises out of, and your power arises from your ability to connect and make coherent the part of you that is interpretive of and interactive with the external, and that which is internal. So if you've got an outside voice and an inside voice, sovereignty is one and the same voice. And that takes practice, that takes sustainability. So the longer, that's what, like one of the, maybe the whole point of meditation, but I don't want to put it in a box. If meditation starts off as one thing and becomes a whole lot more, which equal you, ultimately it's it's just being while aware of yourself in your environment and yourself in something that's outside of it, but really more inside you. Oh, what the fuck you just say? And looked at a different way, everything is vibration. Everything has a kind of frequency. Frequency modulates, uh, and coherent frequency has rhythm. There's a pattern. It has at least, and sovereignty means like you can fucking control the dial. Or like it's, even if something fucked up happens and it's like, whoa, static, you can at least know how to get back to the station that's you. And when you're sitting and watching TV, watching anything, you zone out or you zone in. You zone in when what you are doing, uh, what it looks like you're doing on the outside, becomes what you're doing on the inside. So you're watching something, and we'll say it's like entertaining. It's fictional or whatever that word means. Uh, I'm just not trying to say it, on the outside it looks like it's removed from anything from you, but if you're putting yourself in their shoes, or uh, the psychological dilemmas are you are navigating as if like, wow, what would I do? Uh, and then like really, or even imagining what you would do if you could uh, lift cars and move at the speed of light and shoot fireballs at your ass. You know, like when you engage in anything deeply, you develop a coherence with uh, the surface and the depth, and that's you. And that's eventually leads to your power. But that again takes sustained commitment. It takes takes time. So if you're watching something, and then after about like, I don't know, 6 minutes, this isn't a lot of time. Yeah. And you're really getting into it, and then all of a sudden it's like, uh, car, broom, it's sleek and bullety and blue, raw truck, L'Oreal. It's like, what the fuck? Whoa. Uh, like, you, the the popular understanding of how commercials suck is because commercials suck. Uh, like, who the fuck cares? But they're really comfortable, or were. They're not comfortable at all. The proverbial, is like people that want to be they and not us. Totally comfortable with you thinking that that's the problem, when really they're just um, fucking with your vibration. Because just as soon as you're getting into your own cycle of something, every time something changes, if it's a big enough change, almost your whole system, your whole pattern, your electromagnetic like information regulation pattern, almost like does like a kick restart to integrate this change that's big enough to be to for the whole energy system to be like, okay, let's take this into account. Or this is happening for long enough, we can stop being at a more neutral state. This is your energy system talking, or your electromagnetic field, or whatever, man. If you're not if you're confused about it, fucking Google it, search bar it. Uh, like we're in a popular environment where and it's on purpose, except everything works to your advantage when you can see it that way. But where just things change a lot, like always changing, always changing, always changing. So you can't be resetting all the fucking time. When that happens, that's sickness, and it does happen. I've got like crazy ascension, fucking itchiness. And when, so which just gives me the chance to get better at coming back to my point. And when they steal that opportunity for you to focus and get in touch with your inward by commercial breaks or the pace, even the pace of shows, if you want to go a little deeper, or the pace of movies, or, you know, if you want to go a little bit deeper too. Because what in life is like a movie? What in life is like a show? What, what, how is that calibrating you to anything? Is it maybe a false time type of frequency? Could it be? And then like 3 5 minutes of fucking commercials where you're really into it, the thing, and then commercials like, whoa, what the fuck? So like you kind of like can't help it. Like you're really into it and you're not, so not like, oh man, commercials, or you have some ritual that you do when commercials start. And then but you don't know when it's gonna come back. It's not like a ritual. And it's not like commercial break. Here's your timer. You got 2.5 minutes. And I was like, is it gonna be 30 seconds this time? Is it gonna be a minute? It's gonna be like 45, or 4.5. I don't know. And then oh, it's back. And like even if you PVR or anything like that, right? It's like they take your sovereignty is self reliability, and when you can't rely on yourself, but I don't know. It's like you can, it depends on how you look at your experience to be able to rely on yourself when they're fucking with your brainwaves at to such a degree. Like even me just telling you this, and you'd be like, "Huh, that may be true," and then you observing it uh, is a kind of safeguard. Once you're aware of it, you're like, "Oh, okay. Well, let me just like mute it and avert my eyes and breathe and stay connected to myself." And then it's back. Okay, cool. I'm still here. That's what I do with fucking YouTube on my phone because I don't have an ad blocker or anything like that on my phone for YouTube, the fucking app. And it offends me to no end, the advertising, but that's always been the case. And I get it because people have to make money. And if you get enough people to sell their souls uh, and make it seem viable, and they don't have souls to begin with, then people with souls are like, fuck, like, at least I can make some money doing something that I believe in and sharing information. And I'm happy for all good people getting good things in their life and making it through hard times. The worst part about TV is it offers you a pretend world that you don't even know you're being forced into. how many different countries have you been to? How many different people have you talked to? Like, really, eye to eye. What music have you heard with your ears and your skin and your feet from close, or from close but still far? How many artists have you met? Mountains. What are the cuisines that you've made, or your friends? What's uh, what's really fun for you to do that doesn't involve a screen? TV robs you of doing the things that you're watching only when you don't realize that it's doing that. Worse is the perpetuation of slave society. Because there's nothing natural about the world of any of these TV shows. There's nothing, you can't see anything real on TV. Let's start with the most like cartoons and sci-fi and things like that. Those are the closest things to honest the TV gets. Because they're the least trying to portray a world that resembles the one that you live in. But if it still has the way men talk to women and women talk to men, if it still has nuclear family, if anybody in the show has a job, if anybody in the show fights, if anybody in the show uses money, if anybody in the show is fighting for, or sorry, let me go back, let me be more specific. If anybody in the show is the moral, is the hero redeeming themselves? If anybody in the show is sorry and the drama is how they get forgiveness? Everything that you've ever seen on TV that reminds you of something that has happened to you or someone that you know is a script that they fed you and me, fed us. And you'll know that you're breaking free and becoming more in control of yourself and your own possibilities is when, sure, you might watch less TV, but it's really when, and this is what's inspired me to come on tonight, just whatever, because I love my mom, and I was just watching a show with her. It doesn't matter what's on, like I'll watch anything, just like hanging out. But like I couldn't. I don't know. I think that there's like This Is Us or a million people like us or pieces of us or I don't know, something like that. Bunch of white people and like two or three black people, like every other show. Oh, and like one Asian-ish, right? And every like I just realized like all these shows in the most way have nothing to do with reality. Family Matters, Full House, Survivor, 24. I don't know, I'm just trying to think of like almost wholesome. But there's nothing fundamental, natural, or out of necessity, or born of an order of love about law enforcement, good guys and bad guys, people that have and people that don't have, wanting and not having, not being loved, coveting. There's nothing natural about anything happening in only 30 minutes or 3 hours. In the show, or whatever, how many times do they change their clothes? How do they take care of themselves health wise? How much of what you think you know have you gotten from fiction but without really realizing it? How much of your that happens to everybody, or it happens a lot, or it happens all the time? How much of that impression do you get from a screen? And then what's your relationship with the people on the other side of it? Hi, my name is Elliot, and I am talking to you. I mean everything that I mean. I'm talking to you on the outskirts, at the outskirts of the things that I don't know. And unfortunately, this is the most popular way for you and I to communicate for now. And and it's one way. You think that's accident or on purpose? Think that's a technological failing or a social limitation, a social disabling? And then I wanted to just, like, I had the split second thought to be like, well, mom, what do you want to, is there anything you want to, like, I can't even say it, like, learn? Because, like, YouTube's not perfect, but it's pretty awesome for, it's as awesome gets thus far, is for learning and seeing cool stuff, but and seeing things that are the most real. Because, like, trust me, uh, production value, live, because I'm lazy. But even the thought of asking my mom if she wanted to, just she wanted something she was interested in, or, oh, mom, why don't you check? Like, she's not like that. She's old school because TV is something that we watch to relax. We don't want to think. We don't, you know, we don't want to learn when we just want to relax. Because before that, I was watching uh, some videos on YouTube, and I sat down and was like, I'm just gonna watch some like fan films or something. Like, I just wanna relax. I just wanna chill. And that, and like my mom walked into like me watching, I don't know, a guy making lasers out of ruby or, oh no, I think he was dismantling a microwave. And I wasn't watching grudgingly. That guy chose that shit. I was like, cool. How do you? I always wanted to know what's inside of a microwave. Like, look at all those parts. How would I take it apart? Learning might be fun. Learning might not be a thing. That learning might just be everything when you're allowed to just do what you want. And whoa, whoa, do what I want. Nobody gets to just do what they want. Society is based on what you contribute. And there are things that some people just don't want to do. How many things do you want to do that you do? How many of those, what's that number compared to the things that you don't want to do? What's that number compared to the things that you want to do that you don't do yet? when was the last time you watched a movie where that wasn't the point? But if you had amnesia, woke up in a theater, watched it, you'd walk out of that theater expecting that you could entirely live a life with what you want. That no one could force you to do anything. And that you were completely loved all the time. And that you love all the time. And that there's good and bad in the world, and the way that it expresses itself is through discourse. And people play sports all the time, but nobody really watches them as a pastime, because no one really just passes time. What if you walked out and you were relaxed and you wouldn't you would never use that word to describe relief, because relaxed is not something what something is, it's what something does. Yeah, my muscles are relaxed. When I was running earlier, they were tenser, and now they're a little tense because they're sore, but how often do you use your imagination when you're watching TV? How often do you use your imagination when you're reading? Are you using your imagination right now? When you're not using your imagination, who is? And then, what if your imagination wasn't a word that you equate with children and make believe, but was actually a mechanism more basic than speech, more basic than walking, for interacting with your reality? What if believing is seeing? And then what are you watching? If you're still watching this, you kick ass. Because it's hard to be honest with yourself and change and to talk to someone instead of being entertained. So thanks for hanging out with me. I think you're great. I will talk to you another time. You'll see me later. And maybe one day both of those things will happen at the same time, like live, and somebody will be actually watching. And then maybe, I don't know who you are, but I love you. And we can like talk and listen, both of us, each of us at the same time. Technology's great. Maybe one day we'll meet in person. Anyways, it'll all happen in another moment. Thanks for sharing these with me. Have a really great everything. I love you. Take care of yourself. And believe it or don't, but it's your call.